Who wants to play Bodies, Bodies, Bodies? Hello and welcome back to another popcorn chat. I hope you guys are doing well. As you can tell, once again, we're in a different place. We have moved once again. Everything's good. Don't worry, don't panic. All is well. This was the intention. I was going to move again. But this should be the background for quite a few videos on this channel. So better get used to this setup, as this is where I'm going to be for a while. So I haven't done a video for a while, but I was definitely inspired to do one today for you after just coming out the cinema for Bodies, Bodies, Bodies. Is that Bodies? Is that 3? I know it'd been out in America a little bit before we got it here in the UK, so let's get into the video. So the film follows a group of Gen Z young adults as they sort of crash at Pete Davidson's character's dad's house. They clearly have a lot of money. A lot of these characters come from very, very rich backgrounds, and they stay at this house as they know there's a hurricane coming. They're kind of crashing there, and having such a small group and a sort of closed dynamic, there's going to be tension and there's going to be things coming to the surface, as well as maybe, you know, a few stabbies. One of the things that really drew me into this film is the fact that it's A24. Now, A24 is a production company that I absolutely love. They really create a lot of films that, you know, lots of us enjoy, I'm sure. You know, we go from Ex Machina, First Reformed. There's so many films that people love that are made by this production company. And I think I was curious to check it out, even though I wasn't too sure on the narrative of this film. That title of A24 really drew me in. So this film has a great cast as well. It's got the likes of Amanda Stenberg, Rachel Sennett, Maria Bakalova, Pete Davidson, Lee Pace, Chase Sue Wonders, Myhala Herald. A lot of these people I did recognise from previous projects, but some I'd never even seen before. So let's get into some positives of the film. I generally liked the sort of satirical angle this film was going for, you know, sort of aiming towards a Gen Z audience, but also, you know, mocking them and sort of their language and sort of attitudes towards things. I kind of liked that approach to the film, and I was really intrigued to see why they brought some of these actors. I mean, you know, Lee Pace is a great actor, and obviously he clearly doesn't fit in this dynamic, but I was really excited to see what he would bring to this role. There's clearly a lot of tension amongst this group that has been left unsaid, and there's moments in this film where it's kind of brought to light, and those are the better moments. And that's when not only does it bring the satire and sort of mock the sort of the Gen Z kind of, why am I saying American? It's mocking the Gen Z. Doesn't sound as right. Gen Z way of sort of thinking and attitude and dynamic between friends, especially like in your early 20s. But I think that's the funniest parts of the film. I definitely think, I won't go into detail, but there's a really good dynamic between a lot of the sort of female characters when, you know, all the sort of truth is coming out, you know, that they're sort of kept under the surface. And I think that makes for some of the better parts of this film, and I wish it had more of that, definitely. For me, the standout performance of this film was Rachel Sennett. Now, I'd only seen her in Shiva Baby, which I watched earlier this year, which I thought was a great film as a whole. And I thought she really sort of encapsulated what we wanted to see in this film in terms of the balance of comedy. She was also able to bring this sort of essence of 90s sort of airheadedness that we've seen in the likes of, you know, things like Clueless, for example. That plays on that idea really, really well, whilst also being this sort of satirical film as well. So I thought she was able to get that balance that I really liked, that I've seen in previous films, but also put her own stamp on it. And I just would like to have seen that level across the board. But I think she did the best job out of the sort of the leading casting in this film. Bodies, Bodies definitely has its flaws. One of the main things that I really noticed, I thought a lot of the handheld camera work was a little bit shaky. I mean, that's obviously a stylistic choice, but I think that caused a lot of confusion in terms of where these characters were within the house. The focus was off a lot of the time. And I imagine for a lot of people that might make them feel a little bit motion sickness. And yeah, and working a lot of those handheld, quite close shots in, and then not having like these establishing shots made it really disorientating of where the characters were at that point in the story. For a lot of the film, the lights aren't on in the house, leading it to be blackout and, very little light except for practical lights, from torches, phones, anything like that. However, I think they could have done something a little bit more, like a light when they added in, there was like a red light in one of the rooms. I'd like to see more of that. They could have played around with the colours maybe a bit more, using different lights, but a lot of it was quite hard to see. And yeah, it wasn't a great quality for me. I think they could have done something with the lighting, despite it being a very, naturally dark film because of the story beats. As I said previously, I liked the comedy element and the satire that Rachel Sennett brought to this role. And there were various moments where everyone was on that level. There were moments when it was being self-aware, making fun of people, in a harmless way. But generally, I think a lot of the film doesn't really know its tone. There's points, really early on in the film where people, you're going to clearly supposed to be laughing at this point, but the audience around me was not laughing. It wasn't till about 3/4 in where the audience actually started to laugh in the screening I was in, and that includes me. But there were those moments where they were waiting for the gag and the humour, but it didn't really come across. All in all, I thought this film was okay. It's not been the best. It's not been the worst that I've seen this year. And I think it's worth it. Maybe check it out when it comes out on streaming services. Maybe check out the cinema for some audience reactions. But I'm not saying to rush to go and see this film. Really. All in all, I thought this film was okay. So for that reason, I'm going to give it 2.5 out of 5. I hope you guys enjoyed the review of Bodies, Bodies, Bodies. Let me know your thoughts down below in the comments. I'd love to check those out. And also let me know what you're excited for to come out really soon in the cinema. I mean, I'm excited to go and see how they run. And Don't Worry Darling. So there's lots of exciting things coming out in September. So let me know your favourites down below in the comments. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you very soon for another popcorn chat.